Welcome to episode 99 of Concussion Talk Podcast. I'm with Erin Gilfall, but first, I will stop for a word from our sponsor, HeadCheck Health. Concussion Talk Podcast is presented by HeadCheck Health. HeadCheck Health bridges the gaps in concussion care through simple, powerful technology. Join organizations like the Canadian Football League, Track Factory Racing, the Canadian Junior Hockey League, Eastern Washington University, and Volleyball Canada, who rely on HeadCheck Health to improve communication and optimize care. Visit headcheckhealth.com for more. Okay, Erin, you are actually leading the NLBA or have left the NLBA, Newfoundland Labrador Brain Association. And I talked to Cassandra Stockley, who is the new coordinator of programs and services last week. But this week we were a little sort of exit interview kind of thing with Erin, and she'll tell us about. Well, I guess first of all, just your new job. You can't say much your new job because you haven't started yet. But what is your new job now? You're now moving to where?
Yeah, so I'll be moving on to working with Eastern Health as a child management specialist. There, it's essentially a part of a community health team and just within the government.
Cool. All right. Well, so that's where Erin's going, and that's why Cassandra is now the new coordinator. And but Erin, we'll just guess first is what do you? Well, guess it's a basic question. What do you think? What do you think you've learned? I know you went to both for and Erin and Cassandra both been students at Mohawk College and did their brain management, brain disorders and management.
Brain disorder management. Yeah.
Brain disorder management. And but what have you learned pertaining to real life brain injury as you're for 10 months now, 10 months at the Brain Association?
For a year. I was there for a year.
A year at the Brain Association. So what have you learned? What did you learn?
Yeah. Lots, certainly, too. And I'm so glad Cassandra was able to accept the position because she was my student intern for the summer. So when I found out that I would be leaving, they kind of asked who I would recommend. They asked if she was any good. And I said, of course. So recommend
Nice, yeah.
and talk a bit and kind of go into the position of what I'd been doing. And I wanted to see if she was interested. And she was very much so. So I'm glad she was able to get in there and to continue on with the work that I started up.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the last year, it's been very rewarding, a lot of learning, but also very challenging. And being one of the only staff there, you do have your board to rely on, but it is a lot of work for yourself. Especially in COVID times, it was particularly challenging and trying to find ways to engage with people that weren't in person. So navigating that as a new graduate and then trying to figure out when you're kind of just thrown into it was a lot of fun, but ups and downs throughout all of it.
Yeah, no, actually, I met Cassandra. You were at the end of June. We went to the local farmers market here in St. John's, and Cassandra's had the booth at another one of your volunteers. I guess was that summer volunteer. And
she was a Canada summer job student.
Summer job student, yes. But Cassandra's there, and I don't know if Cassandra knew them, but yeah. So what surprised you about when you? Because you're not from St. John's. What surprised you about dealing with clients, patients, whatever in St. John's had brain injury?
Yeah, I think it was in St. John's specifically, it was more surprising to see the reach across the province that there was for brain injury survivors. There's people all over, and you kind of think that they'll get centralized to St. John's because this is where a lot of the medical care would be in the most resources, but
ironically not central.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I know. So did you find what did you find the most challenging of your as confidentially as you can? What was the most challenging thing you faced?
I think it was definitely
say client who was most challenging or not. Who to themselves was most challenging, who presented challenges that you were having difficulty finding answers to.
Yeah, a lot of it was to be multifaceted. There was a lot of challenges in the sense that we had to do fundraising, and that was probably the biggest challenge in getting funding and donors through COVID and having to do that in a virtual space. Because a lot of times, fundraisers, you're in person, you make that human connection, you can explain more to people and kind of get that touch. But when you're online and forced to do it that way, it's a lot harder to get through and a lot harder
Yeah.
to sell tickets and that kind of thing. And those were the aspects that would fund our programs. So luckily we did receive some grants throughout the year and we were able to get some fundraising done. But hopefully within the next year or two, and especially as Cassandra pushes on, it'll become more open and easier and more people will know our name as well. So it'll be easier to raise those funds.
Yeah, I hope, as I said, I hope this podcast helps spread the name a bit because I know when I was at the farmers market, it's difficult to get all the people come to the hunter to ask us about it and stuff like that. But it's mostly we're doing way like informational things about it or the contest, the 50-50 draw and things like that that are with most interest. And it's hard because you can't really yell out to people or like you yell out to them, but you can really, I mean, they can respond back with the mask on and mask made it very, very difficult to hear someone to kind of either talk loudly when they're close or pull on your mask, which you can't do indoors. So you have to like kind of yell if you're through your mask and to get them to really focus on you because like say you're saying that the fundraising mask and people just not comfortable being indoors and being closed spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
So what aspects of say obviously treating you were able to do the full range of say I know because you first did your bit of on a small bit of on-site work with Mall College Co-op program in you did in Hamilton, Boston, or did something in New Brunswick? You're gonna do a turn to New Brunswick, right? But that's when COVID happened.
Yeah, so the internships I was supposed to do were going to be one was in Hamilton and one was in New Brunswick. But yeah, because of COVID, I wasn't able to do either of them. So I didn't really have the opportunity like Cassandra has had to kind of test it out and see what the workspace is like and that kind of thing. And kind of start with those skills first. And
I
then,
guess you got a bit of a taste of what it's like before the pandemic, before and hopefully after the pandemic, what the interaction would be like. So, what did you think? What would you say you missed during the pandemic? Would you say is the most important thing? Did you, not you personally, but brain injury societies and people in close contact? We said,
yeah, I think the fact that like with the Brain Injury Association, the ABLE group had to be put on hold, and that was a weekly meeting. I know they're trying to restart it now, hopefully soon, but that was a big part of their mandate, their mission, and having people connected. And because the pandemic, that was put on hold and just never really was able to get started again during the last year. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity in the sense that I wish we'd been able to push through and have that again. But a lot of the time for the people within that group, it was severe brain injuries, and many of them weren't really able to access online, and virtual sessions weren't really feasible in that case.
and then not being face to face is like as much as like this is very unique for me and also for recording, but being face to face is cannot be replicated just by doing these, even though we are again technically face to face, but we're not really like it's yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
you kind of to get a sense of how it's different than how I know like my sister works in Toronto and how and her office is not opening up now, or it has kind of but not really. And yeah, like a lot of people saying how businesses and cities are going to be a lot different because there's working more from home and do Zoom meetings and stuff like that. But the face to face is a totally different animal than the over the phone and over the online. So
Yeah, the one thing it did allow, which I have enjoyed, and I guess over the last year was nice to have as an option, was the presentations, though. We were able to get a lot of presentations out to places we might not always have visited or been able to go into.
that's true.
And having those to present was really great. And I'm glad that we were able to do that. And just creating resources over the last year, I feel has stocked a good library there. And I hope that they continue to use them.
Nice. Was that mostly just schools, or did just everyone, schools and the companies, organizations, and people?
Yeah, they can offer them to anyone. Mainly schools were what we were presenting to, or young children. But any workplace that would be interested in accommodations, those kind of things, those can be presentations that can be made.
Great. Well, and also I know you were grateful enough to, not grateful, but I'm grateful enough to you for being part of the podcast. So you started in episode 73 was going to introduce you as my co-host, and we did a brief little interview about your background and how you get into it. But so was there any podcast per se that you thought was the most interesting and most surprising, or was there, or just in general? What did you find the most interesting about podcasting?
Yeah, out of each of them, kind of pull something unique away from them and learn something new from every new professional that we talk to. I especially enjoyed the Ireland one just because that's where my
Yeah,
ancestors came from. And it was really interesting to see how there's similarities like all over and especially internationally. I always enjoyed collaborating with Taya and Emily as well, just where
yes.
you could see the community here too. And I could connect people here with them and get them more resources in that sense.
I've tried to reach out. I've reached out to them. I tried to reach out to them, but they're obviously just starting school and university now back in, and I don't know what McGill is doing for that. But do you? I know you guys had the summer book club. How did that go after?
Good, good. Yep. For the most part, there was people that were able to join. We were able to get a couple of the authors in. Had to extend it out a bit, so there was only the two books, but it was a nice format and got people actively engaged, which was nice.
And what books did you guys do this
They
summer?
did the
Ghost on Brain, right?
yeah, it goes to my brain, and there was another one, but I don't remember the title right now.
That's fair enough. I don't remember how I was into it every year.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So this your new job is going to be in St. John's still, and you're in your new house now, which we discussed on the Concussion chats podcast. I think Emily and
Yeah.
Tay are both interested in that. So yeah, so it could be great to have you still in St. John's, still be able to, at least if I don't move around my computer so much that I hope I didn't make a racket that made a bunch of noise unnecessarily. But yes, but you'll be able to at least to show point Cassandra in the right direction. I'll be already, but point so Cassandra's where to go and who to talk to and stuff. And I was wondering if she would get if we get on this podcast, but I guess not. And yeah, so this was great having you doing the being part of the podcast and also Brain Injury Association for even this year and my podcast for 10 months. And yeah, so all the best and best of luck for with the child management specialist at East North. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Erin.
Thank you. It's been great.
Thank you again so much, Erin, for being part of this podcast and for being part of Newfoundland Labrador Brain Injury Association. And please remember to rate and review and subscribe to Concussion Talk Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, newly to Amazon Music and to Good Pods, which is an app that you can find in the App Store. And please join me next week but the next episode will be episode 100, which is exciting. We'll talk to 4 people, and Lauren Zayas will also help me to co-host that episode, and we'll talk to the 4 people who were with me today. I actually was brain injured, so today I went to Tacoma August 1st, 2003, on a bike ride in Victoria, BC. So please thank you so much for listening, and please stay tuned for that one. Thank you. As always, music at the beginning of this podcast is by Ben Sound, www.bensound.com.